They gon' let me for my ambition.
Shout out to everybody out there in the world watching this. We appreciate you. This is the CA Podcast, Club Ambition Podcast. Cap, I go by Sound, and we have the Chubb Corner, the producers, Marlon.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? Hope everybody's doing well, man.
Doing
Welcome.
their thing. You know
Full
what I'm saying?
Chubby Chubb in the
Big
fucking
Chubbs here,
building.
yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying? Damn, Marlon, that sounds like the button.
You know what I'm saying? Bro, listen, I'm going to stick to it. Everyone stole that shit from me, bro.
It sounds
My
like
shit's
you.
perfect, bro. Like,
Sounds like him.
Sounds like
I'm going to sue people, bro.
Where's it at?
I'm
Which
going
one
to
is
sue.
it? Is the green one?
I don't know. They took the shit out, I think.
Sensational.
It's one of them. It's one of them.
Yesterday.
Nah, they took it out.
They gon'
Yeah,
We don't need it, though. We don't need it.
We got the original create.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's me, bro.
Got the original here, man.
It's me.
Yeah.
Who's the original man?
I'm going to sue you motherfuckers. Say
Yeah,
I
but
won't.
most definitely, we appreciate you guys for tuning in. This episode, we're going to do the Euro interview. Very special interview with the Young Money's own Lil Wayne's artist from Providence, Rhode Island. So make sure to definitely check this out. The entire interview, a lot of important gems in here. And if you guys want to follow further along, more topics, you're going to definitely see probably some clips of this, whether it's on TikTok, YouTube. But go on Patreon to watch the full discussion. Patreon.com/Club Ambition Patreon. You know, go over there and help us out. You know, we got to pay the bills over here. But, yeah, what more else should I say other than that? Nothing else. Yeah, go to Patreon. So if you guys want anything else, you know. But definitely check out this interview. It's one for the books. In my opinion, the best interview Euro's done in his entire life.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest interviews in Rhode Island music, hip-hop history. So enjoy it. You know, everybody enjoy it. This is legendary shit right here. Woo! Welcome to the CA Podcast. Cap, I go by Sound, host. Welcome to the Club Ambition YouTube channel if you're watching on YouTube. If you're listening, make sure to watch on YouTube because we have the visual, high quality per usual. But like you guys always hear me say, if you're a fan of the channel or if you're a new fan, if you don't know, I'm from Providence, Rhode Island. And we always, you know, are very proud of where we're from, representing, always trying our best to have prominent figures from the city and from the state stop by our studio and bless us with their time. And this time around, very, very excited to introduce to you guys this week's guest, someone that we've done content with on the channel, definitely have reactions with him to his music. And even I think specifically was one that we did with an artist featured on the song, but not just any artist. It goes by Lil Wayne, my favorite rapper of all time, arguably the best rapper of all time. And this gentleman has lived a, you know, very interesting life, especially for someone who's been, you know, from Rhode Island now being signed to Lil Wayne. And, you know, a lot of kids up and coming as rappers, as artists, always looked up to the likes of him and other, you know, quote unquote rappers from Rhode Island who have either made it or got signed. And he's one of the first ones and one of the most memorable, you know, stories. And if you didn't know the story, today we're going to break it down with you. And welcome to the Club Ambition studio right here, Euro.
Wow, man. Appreciate it. Appreciate everything you said. I ain't hear all that about myself before like that in that way. So
I'm trying to be like
appreciate it, bro.
trying to be the Noriega of Rhode Island. mine
real.
is the drinks. We don't got no.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I don't really drink, but
Bro, nah, appreciate you having me. Dope space, you know what I mean? And I'm always rooting for you, bro. So this
Nah,
is
thank
dope
you, man.
to see.
I appreciate it, man. But let's start from the top, man. When it comes to Euro, now that's your rap name, but what is your
Yes, sir.
your legal name?
So my name is Euphrates Rodriguez. Growing up, man, you know, most people in Providence know me as just Fratis. That's how I actually got Euro. The first two letters of my first name are EU, and the first two letters of my last name RO. I just put it together and made Euro. So
Perfect.
yeah, this is like my 10th rap name. You know what I mean? So it's stuck.
So what was like the first rap name that you kind of
First
had?
rap name, I was a kid, and first rap name was Lil Frey.
Lil Frey.
It was just Lil Frey. Yeah, my uncles, my homies, everybody used to call me Lil Frey. I used to be doing little talent shows. I used to go around rapping and like back in the day, my church, they used to do this talent show every Friday. I used to run by Lil Frey. So if you remember Lil Frey, you know what I mean? Shout out
day
to
one,
you.
day
That's
one.
day one. You know what I mean? Way back.
That's
Yeah.
day negative one almost.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
facts.
So speaking of day one, your actual, childhood, what is your nationality for those who don't know?
So I'm Dominican.
And were you born here, or were you like my parents who, well, I was born here, but my parents weren't born here. But was your story similar? Did you have like immigrant Dominican parents?
Yeah, me myself, I was also immigrant. I was born in Dominican Republic, in
Really?
Santo Domingo, La Capital,
Wow, I didn't know that.
capital. Yeah, I'm really Dominican. So I was born out there, and I was probably like in between the ages of 3 and 5. I made that move here.
Wow.
With my family, but yeah, my whole family, we were born in Dominican Republic.
And did you have like a language barrier to kind of overcome when you came to America? Like, you had to learn English? Did you overcome that quick? Like, how was that process?
Yeah, it was very. It was such a big part of my life because it was a huge change. When you're a kid in the young ages, and you see a lot of those big changes, it impacts your life heavily. So I learned a lot in those time periods. Like, it was just the switch of culture and everything that was going on at that time. I was a kid coming from DR and just seeing how people dressed, how kids played and talked and slang and this and that, the music. I had to learn all of that because I was straight up just Spanish. But, going to school, it took me, if I could remember, it took me about a year to learn English. I learned English like pretty fast compared to a lot of people. Like, I learned English really fast.
That's crazy. I didn't. You're more Dominican than me, basically. Like, I didn't even fucking know that.
Yeah, I was straight Dominican. Yeah,
Yo, but speaking of schools, so what was this school, like your Rhode Island school history? Like, what was your elementary, middle school, and high school journey? What was the schools you went to?
Oh, man. So elementary school, when I first came from DR, I went to 5 different elementary schools.
Wow.
Yeah, this is when I was living. So when we first came, I lived in my grandmother's house. And if you Dominican, sometimes them cribs be having like 30 people in it. Just fresh people from DR and uncles and all this. So we had a little cut in the basement, you know what I mean? And I was going to schools on the south at that time. I went to BJ Clinton, which was down there. Shout out to all my BJ Clinton homies. I be running into people. They still remember we went to elementary school together, so that's always dope to see. And I went to, I'm not sure if it was Rogers or Gilbert Stewart. One of them schools had a kindergarten at that time. I don't know what school it was. One of them schools down there had a kindergarten. And I'm going off of what I can remember. I saw this report card too, an old report card for a school. I kid you not, bro. The report card on the school name, it just said Southside.
What?
I don't know what school that was. I don't know if it was just
Southside.
BJ Clinton or it was Gilbert Stewart, but it just said Southside on the school name. I got the report card. I'm gonna have to see what school that was.
You got to frame that.
Yeah. I went to them schools. Then I went to George A. West. This one I moved up closer to the north. I went to George A. West, West Broadway, and William Debate.
Okay. And then
For elementary. Middle
elementary.
school, I went to a school called St. Patrick's for
St.
3
Patrick's.
years. That was
Okay.
on Smith Street. Shout out to St. Patrick's family. You know what I mean? That's when I really fell in love with my basketball dreams. But after that, I went to the Met freshman year in high school. 10th grade, I went to private school up in Smithfield. And junior year and senior year, I went to Adelaide. Shout out to the whole Adelaide family. I graduated from Adelaide.
Yeah, I remember that. And when it comes to reference of time, how old are you right now?
I'm 29.
29.
Yeah.
Okay, 29. All right, for those who want to know the reference. And all right, and you said real quick, which kind of leaned into sort of my next question. Up and coming, everyone sort of has this stereotypical dream or one thing that they want to be growing up. Specifically for me, believe it or not, and I think I heard you kind of answer already, it was similar to you if this is the answer, was possibly playing basketball, making it to the NBA, right? Was this your one set goal prior to becoming a rapper?
I would say that in baseball. It had the
Baseball.
same energy. When I was a kid, that's kind of like, I'm probably not the only one. that feels this way when I say this, but coming from Providence, you know, in the environments we come from, the only things we see is like God-given gifts create success where we come from. You know what I mean? It's not too many people that at that time when we was young kids, when we was coming up, we ain't see too many people going to become doctors or CEOs or some kind of business or lawyers and things like that. We only saw the ones who was blessed with like a God-given gift. And they are the ones that end up, you know, getting the big houses and making all the money. So at that time, that's all I could see, you know, basketball, baseball, what I could do, you know what I mean? So those were my dreams, and rap. I always used to treat that as like, you know what I mean, like the you know, those are the three things that I always, you know, were pursuing. And stuff like that.
And when it came to baseball specifically, was it kind of stereotypical where your parents, Dominican parents, especially fathers, lean you or try to lean you towards becoming a baseball player? Was that just sort of case with your father or your parents, like, oh, play baseball? And was it something that you carried on maybe from DR?
Right. It wasn't more so my parents. It was more so my brother.
Older brother? Okay.
Yeah, my older brother. He used to, you know what I mean, when it came to that sense, he was like, you know, he was who kind of, you know, developed me in that sense, you know what I mean? We ain't used to do that with our parents, but my brother was always on me. Because he was playing baseball, so.
Really?
Yeah, he was, and, you know, whatever I did, like basketball, baseball, even rapping, like, he was always just pushing me to get to the next level, forcing me. He was obsessive. He was like one of them dads that didn't make it, and then they try to live their dream through their kid, even though he was still young and he was still doing his thing. But
how older was he than you?
He was like 5, 6. He's 5 years older. I'm sorry, 7 years older than me.
7 years.
6 or 7 years older than me.
Okay.
And he would just treat it like, you know what I mean? I had to make it.
Yeah.
Like no matter what. And so that's where that energy came from. Like he would always just put that pressure on me. Like you know what I mean? He was treating it like it was his dream. So.
Yeah, and shout out to him. If you don't mind asking me now, where does he have, since he has such a prominent role in your upcoming, is he around now? Is he a part of the team? What's his?
Yeah. This is my brother, he's around now. He's in Miami. He still helps me out with everything I gotta do.
Okay.
Yeah, working and stuff like that. But
okay.
He's still around now. We work together on everything. He's been with me throughout this whole journey. So
yeah. Okay, that's love. And going back to the times of you literally, you know, rapping, what was this first, you know, touch or taste of the rap? Like, did you have a first song that you never released or released? And then, you know, I always hear a lot of stories. Well, nowadays, like the stories you typically hear is like, I put it on SoundCloud, it was public, then I made it private. What was your situation when it came to rapping prior to becoming now known as Euro from Young Money?
I was more so, cause I ain't never. One of my biggest things was I never used to drop music. I used to, you know, record music and stuff like that, but I never would drop music. I would do talent shows and stuff like that, and I'll go around performing schools, churches, college when I was in college and things like that. But I never used to drop music and stuff like that. I'll just develop my skill, you know. In that sense, I probably released a couple songs on MySpace. I was probably trying to impress some girls and things like that, but I ain't never really put out no SoundCloud vibes or anything like that. But and that's another thing that I'll probably have to credit to my brother, because he would always kind of tell me that too. He would always kind of like be like, look, you record this music, blah, 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 just send it to me. And he would always, like, you know, get it to the right hands, because, you know, he was big on, like, it's not about how many people hear your music, it's about the right people hearing your music. Especially at that time, you know what I mean? We ain't never seen a rapper make it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
that's crazy.
That's always been the motto and how we went about it as far as the rapping goes. Yeah. I ain't
and
never
it was
had
always,
a hit song or nothing like that.
And it was always dolo. You never had, like, I always hear stereotypical, a lot of people have like rap crews or rap friends and groups, or it was always dolo with you, or did you have like a crew? It was always
dolo with me. I was like I said, when I came out here, I was really young when I first started rapping. My uncle put me on the rapping when I was probably like 6 or 7.
Wow.
So since then, my friends in every block that I lived on, there'll be like 2 or 3 that could rap, you know, and stuff like that. We would always rap with each other and stuff like every now and then. But this whole journey has always been by myself. Like I ain't never had no group, no homies, no partners, no, you know what I mean? Like no squad or nothing like that. And you know, it wasn't too common at that time. You know what I mean? Like we talking about a Providence that had no. I don't think there was too many rappers, you know, going big or doing these, you know, becoming successful at it. So I don't think that was the energy in the city. So it wasn't like I could run into somebody and be like, "Yo, let's rap together." You know what I mean? Somebody probably look at me like I was crazy. Like, you want to be a rapper, bro? Like, you know, but nah, it's always been me by myself. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've always had my homies though. Like my homies always been, you know, they always been rocking with me.
And then now, fast forward to that journey, leaping from, you know, you're recently from DR, you know, 3-year-old in DR, and then 3 years later, your brother, your uncle, helping you look into becoming a rapper. But now, what was that middle space between then and then fast forwarding to Lil Wayne even knowing who you are? What was that come up? Explain, you know, real brief, like a summary of that those actual years. Yeah.
Those years?
And how long was that space as well?
Yeah. So the introduction to rapping, like when my journey first started, I was young, you know, 6 or 7. And then to the point where it was like after like a year, 2.5 after college, that time period, you know, again, I never dropped music. That time period, I wouldn't even say felt like I was like an upcoming rapper or nothing like that. Like it didn't even look like I was trying to be a rapper. You know what I mean? That time period was just life. You know, it was just so much happened in that time period was crazy to me because rap was like the last thing on my mind. It was something that I was passionate about. Something that, you know, late at night when I'm up alone, I write songs in my rhyme book, and just I used rap more so as a way to cope with life, like how to just get through the days. It was really like
it was almost like your diary. Those
it was
years.
Like a way to express myself and things like that, and how to pass the time, you know, with the homies. Like you just on the block, you just like, you know, you don't really have nothing go for yourself, but we could always rap, and I could, you know, homies, they all gonna sit around and just watch me rap, and it's going, you know, those were fun moments. So I would always say like that's like the you know what I mean? I didn't take it as, I wasn't like waking up every day, oh, I gotta be a rapper. I wasn't even tripping on it. Like I was dealing with life. I was way on some whole other type vibe.
Yeah.
That's why a lot of times, even in high school, there was homies in Adelaide that used to rap, and you know, they used to have little battles and things like that, and I used to walk past that. I used to see it, you know, it'd be dope. I never used to really involve myself with the rap scene or whatever was going on in the city, or you know, rappers and things like that. I never jumped in that mix. Yeah, like I was always just, I wasn't even moving like that. I was dealing with life in that whole time period, and in between that. But
and if you don't mind sharing, do you have something maybe major that probably happened? Because we all always have, you know, stories and, you know, experiences that might be at the time traumatic or maybe just troublesome, but then they turn out to be life lessons that mold us to be who we are today. During these years prior to signing to Lil Wayne, did you have something during that journey that, you know, might quote unquote be this, what you're referencing, you know, going through life? Was there like one thing that was major, if you can share?
I can't pinpoint one, because there was a lot. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's just different things, and you know, moments that, you know, I wouldn't say, you know, something bad happened and it made me say, okay, you know, this made me want to be a rapper more so, or nothing like that. Like, it was just more so, I got to a point in my life, and I'm pretty sure a lot of other people from this city could feel like this, where, you know, school's over, high school's done, you know what I mean? And it's like, you don't know where you're going. Like, you don't know which way to go or whatever, you know? The easiest way to go is left, you know, especially where we come from. And, you know, we right at the doorstep of everything bad that you could think of, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, one step away from, you know, going all the way, taking it there. So we've all been, a lot of us have been there, and I hit that rock bottom. I just one time period that I could touch on is when I went to I got sent to DR after high school, by myself. If you're Dominican, you know what's going on. You know what I mean? You get sent to DR, you got to straighten up out there.
Mm-hmm.
But I got sent out there, and that experience to me is probably like top 2 toughest times in my life, because it was like what I thought rock bottom was, it was under that. You know what I mean? And this is right after high school. I'm fresh out of Adelaide. And, you got your friends, everybody going different places. They going to URI and all these schools and woo, woo, woo. And, like, I ain't know what I was doing with my life. Yeah. You know what I mean? It was going to go, however I was going to play it. But
did you graduate high school?
I graduated high school, barely. Shout out to Mr. Alvarez, held me down. But
and when it comes to so now, breaking that down more, when it comes to actually college, did you have any... You didn't have any like scholarship?
Nah,
or like
I didn't get accepted to no schools, none of that.
Nothing, yeah.
So when you get that feeling, especially for somebody who's a dreamer like me, who I really, man, when I tell you, one of my worst nightmares is waking up and working for somebody else and paying somebody else's bills. I can't. I've never been able to do that. So when you at that point, graduating high school, your mind goes into survival mode, and that could turn into whatever it could turn into. So when I got sent to DR, that was just tough. I've experienced moments where I was sleeping on the ground, not knowing, how we was going to get food. Mind you, I'm training for baseball. Like, I'm training out there, like, and I'm in some environments that's just... It's insane environments, you know what I mean?
Because your parents decided to maybe send you out there, like, oh, this didn't work out. Let's send you out there, almost as like, were they maybe disappointed? Like, damn, you're not going to school. We're gonna find something for you.
Yeah, it was more so. First of all, they did that to me, my brother, and my sister. So it was bound to happen. I was bound to
Tradition.
Get sent to DR. Yeah,
Tradition.
It's just like you gotta go out there. But it was also just like I was playing baseball. I was trying to pursue the baseball thing, so it was also just go out there. You can find some good training out there.
Yeah.
And to straighten up. I wasn't the best student at that time. So or the best behavior wise. But that experience would kind of change the course a little bit because it straightened me up. It straightened me up a lot, and it made me appreciate a lot of things. It made me move differently, and that from that point on, I came back and I went to school in Alabama State University at HBCU.
Wow.
And it's Division I. I was able to play baseball there, and I was there for a while. Again, I was very distracted youth. You know what I mean? So anybody that knows me and went to school with me, y'all know I was very distracted. So there in Alabama, I ended up, probably like a year and a half later or 2 years later, I ended up getting in trouble, academic suspension and all that.
Wow.
So I got sent back to Providence, and again, I felt that rock bottom feeling.
Again, yeah.
Like, I was not going to work for somebody else. I was not going to do the Dunkin' Donuts thing.
How old were you? Do you remember? Maybe it was like 22?
I was 18. I was young. I ended school. I was a little ahead of time. So
you were
I was
more
probably
advanced?
like 17, 18.
Oh, wow. Okay.
At this time. And I was just, I was sitting on my ass in Providence, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
At 17, 18. So, your mind starts to wander and things like that. But, all the while, my brother was moving around. He was playing baseball. He was in Miami. And at that time is when, throughout this time, I have been recording. Every chance I get in the studio with my homies, but I be recording music just for fun, just like, I bet I'm gonna record this, send it to my brother, send it to my homies and all that.
Was it personal music, taking it back maybe to like the diary type of aspect? Was it personal shit maybe, or? That
type of vibe, but like I wasn't recording those songs like this is for the club or radio, nothing like that. I was just put on a beat. This is hard. I bet let me rap on this. Let me do this, and it was still in the space of how I always used to treat it, like diary. Releasing, expressing myself, and just getting through the night. But
almost like therapy in a sense.
Very therapeutic, very therapeutic. And
Okay.
yeah, I always record that and send it out. And when I was out here after college, with nowhere to go, Wayne hits me up. That's when everything changed, because all that music that I was making without knowing where it'll end up or what's going to happen with it, just sending it to my homies and my brother, ended up traveling a long way and changing my life.
So break that down. So that concept of, fast forwarding, you went to school, graduated, but then rock bottom, got sent to DR, tried to do baseball, then you got sent to an HBCU again. You didn't graduate, so you hit rock bottom again. But now you're in a space where this music, like, how did this music, like, where were you putting it? Like, what was the situation? Because everyone has that stereotypical, not everyone, but a lot of people have. I always use, for example, Big Sean has that most, like, stereotypical rapper. Like, he freestyled to Kanye West at a radio station and he got signed. What was your story? What was that? Was it one song, one freestyle? How, like, what was that? Take us through that real quick for those who don't know.
So I wasn't even present for my, I guess the big moment.
Yeah.
But you could even pull this interview up where Wayne talks about it, because I wasn't present. But what he says is he got the song sent to him, and he heard one verse and half of a hook. Like, he was listening to the verse, and then it got to the hook part. He heard half of that, and he called me literally right away. Like, he literally was just like, "Yo, this kid is young. Like, what's going on? Where is this kid?" So that's how he, explains it. But for me, I just got the call and I got flown out there. And I would say my moment was where I felt, because I still felt like I was like meeting him to see if, what could possibly happen. I didn't think I was going to be in a music video with Birdman and Wayne like next month later. You know what I mean? I didn't think none of that. But I think it was when we first got in that studio and they put on beats, I felt like it was like a test. I felt like they were in there just, putting me through the ringer. Like, he had me in there all night, bro. Like,
damn.
Yeah, like, and I, every beat he put on, I felt like I had to kill it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is Wayne. I felt like they was watching me, which they probably were, and, I executed on every single verse. And we did that for like about a week straight, where we was just in the studio, like, till late night, and I had to, on the spot, come up with like the hardest shit I ever, rap. Like, you know what I mean?
It's
Just
like,
to make sure
hip hop boot camp.
I ain't going back to Providence. You know what I mean? That's what my mindset was. So I would say those were my moments, those beginning verses in those studio sessions with Wayne, because I think I'll say this, there was another artist who they were thinking of signing to at that same time, who they had with me, like next to me. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
oh, so it literally almost like some boot camp.
Yeah, like we was in the
Training
studio
camp,
together, things and that artist isn't around. So I guess that was like the time period that, okay, bet we're gonna work with you. So I had to,
And taking it back real quick, do you remember what was the first? What was that one verse and hook? Do you remember at all? Like, by off memory, like.
So I believe so. It was from you remember the Childish Gambino "Freaks and Geeks"?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
So I took that beat and I think I did a freestyle to it. I did like a verse in a little.
And it's still up today online, probably? No?
This has never been out. None of this has ever been out. Yeah, it'll probably never see the light of day. Like, I have millions of songs that probably never see the light. But yeah, I think it was that one. And I remember too, because it was something I literally just, I just did that like in 2 seconds one day in the studio in Alabama. And I just sent it to my brother. Like, I wasn't thinking nothing of it. But it was definitely the Childish Gambino "Freaks and Geeks."
That's
like
crazy.
One verse, and like I did like half. I think I did a little hook to it. I had two verses in the hook. He didn't hear the whole song. He just heard one.
Yeah,
verse.
he didn't even finish it. He was like, "Fuck it, it's good enough." Yeah.
But it was definitely that one.
But that's great. So how did it? You think even land in his hands? Obviously, he got it sent to him. But was it like through your brother? Like, who had the connection?
It was through Mac. I believe it was through Mac Main.
Mac Main. Okay.
Yeah, shout out to Mac.
Mac Main.
He's another pivotal piece in my story. But
wow.
Mac, I think my brother got the song to Mac, and Mac got it to Wayne.
Wow, nice.
Yeah, Mac is like, you know what I mean? He's like the gatekeeper over there, so.
Yeah, no, 100%. I always say that, like, behind the scenes, people, I don't even think he's ever did, like, a full interview anywhere. Mac Main, like, that guy is involved in that team heavily. He's making crazy moves.
Yeah,
So
shout out to Mac.
now fast forwarding, what was that moment? Do you remember that moment of actually signing onto was it like a contract situation? Obviously, you went through this boot camp. There was 2 artists. You were one of them. The other one didn't make it. And who was this other artist? Does it even matter? Are they not around no more?
Yeah, I don't.
No one. Yeah.
Yeah, it was another artist. I'm not. I can't even. I don't know if they're in that artist space anymore, but
It's not someone that we might know. That's made
it's
it
nobody
popular. It's not like Jack Hart, someone randomly. That would have been crazy.
Like that.
Yeah, but now fast forwarding to that time of you signing that contract.
So again with the contract thing, because this is a big misconception.
Yeah.
We didn't sign no contract.
Okay.
So a lot of people they get that misconstrued. Because when I came around, it wasn't too long after. I think I'm the last person to be on a song / video with Birdman and Wayne.
Together.
Together.
Yeah, both of them at the same time. Yeah,
I'm
ever.
the last,
Until now, yeah.
Yeah, so I think after that, that's when the split up happened. You know, the business side of things went completely left.
Yeah.
So but we made it official in the sense of, look, we had that conversation and we put pieces into play that solidified that we running with the Young Money side. But
okay.
Yeah, I ain't never had no. And that's another thing that I know a lot of people from the outside looking in don't exactly understand, but everything they've ever seen from me or anything going on with me was without no major label help or nothing like that.
Wow.
It might look like it, from afar, but this is us. You know what I mean? This is something that we've been building brick by brick, from the beginning. So
yeah, I think that's very powerful.
Make it look nice.
Yeah, it's very powerful to say because I think people don't know that, and it's like it needs to be said because stereotypically you would think it's almost like taking it back to boot camp, training day, like when an actual athlete signs a contract, dotted line. And even now with rappers, you see it kind of go viral, like Yo Gotti signed someone, they're signing the contract literally. And that's how one would think like this situation with you was, but it wasn't. You're saying as more word of mouth, love on some like family shit, and then holding you like down, I would assume potentially maybe financially when it comes to that, because obviously you also got to, maintain yourself, right? So that's basically your situation now with Young Money, and ever since then. Yeah. Yeah,
the thing with us is like we came into this a different way, we like I said, we never looked for handouts. Like even coming up, there's nobody that we ever came to like we needed anybody, you know what I mean? Like one of our biggest claims to fame is that, it's so random. I came out of nowhere. And that's because, we big on, being self-sufficient. So even with Wayne and my Young Money family or whatever label situation, like we do for self first. You know what I mean? And I always preach that to artists, you know what I mean? Do for self,
Yeah.
Even if you gotta come out of pocket, you know what I mean? A lot of times we more than willing to come out of pocket with something that we believe in because, in the long run it pays off better. You know what I mean? So.
And then do you have for those who don't know, is there an umbrella since you are like a independent sense, like a camp? Do you have like a sort of brand or label? What's the, Euro is known by this. This is your team. This is your name. Obviously, you're part of Young Money, but what's your more like independent like? Crew?
Yeah. So I'm YM, but I have my own company.
Yeah.
So my last project was Don't Expect Nothing.
Yeah.
I released that through my own company.
Okay.
Which is very rare to see. Not a lot of people would be able to do that, especially when they have relationships with labels like Young Money and things like that. But my team being so understanding, we was able to go and get a situation with Empire for distribution. Shout out to Ghazi, and we released my last project on my own label. So anything I put out will have my own stamp on it. Secret Weapon. It's not nothing that I want to brand or anything like that. We gonna develop I want to develop my label a little better, but as far as like these releases and things like that on the business side, I was able to secure myself by owning my own masters and owning everything I've ever put my voice on. You know what I mean? It's all under my umbrella of Secret Weapon, which I own 100% of. So
yeah. No, yeah, listen, this is all news to me.
Yeah,
I
yeah. A
didn't
lot
know.
of people
I love that. I
don't
love
really
that.
know that, and that's something that I don't run around trying to.
Yeah.
When people say why is this like that or why is that like that, our job is to just keep our head down and work. We let people say whatever they want, but that's how things been moving. We've been doing this. We've been doing this for together for a while now. We've been working.
Quick commercial break. It's a sign of the times. We're dealing with a lot around the world. Recently, we had the pandemic. A lot of people were scared. Like, do I need to get into a bunker? Do I need a first aid kit? What is going on? How am I going to be able to get medicine? A lot of people want to maybe get antibiotics, but you don't want to deal with over the counter. You don't want to deal with the doctor per se. They already calculated that if we were to go into a world-ending catastrophic situation, when it comes to these manufacturers that produce this, we would be at a very, very huge shortage here in America. But here is a company that's going to provide you this service. They're called Jace Medical.
It's a pack of 5 different courses of antibiotics that you can use to treat a long list of bacterial illnesses, including UTIs, respiratory infections, sinusitis, and skin infections.
Just like we all should have a first aid kit in our home, we all need at least one Jace case. Go to jacemedical.com right now and use the code word CLUB10 for $10 off your Jace case.
That's right. You heard Marlon correct. Club 10 is our promo code for $10 off a medical pack that might save your life, or at least definitely guaranteed to make you feel better when it comes to these antibiotics. $10 off. JaceMedical.com. JSE medical.com. That's Jace with an S. Club 10, the promo code for $10 off. How do you guys feel after hearing this? I heard you guys sniffing over there, coughing. What's going on? Need some Jace Medical?
Now, for sure, man. It's getting a little cold, getting a little chilly. We got the sniffles already, man. Put our order through. Gonna get them antibiotics.
It's that time. It's that time. You got to take care of yourself. This definitely seems like an essential that you should have, so why not?
Wait, did you guys did you guys take the COVID test before you came in here like I told you? Did you?
No, we ain't take no tests, yo.
JaceMedical.com.
JaceMedical.com.
But I took the
Yeah, JaceMedical.com. No, and I would say I look at it like this, where it's like if you think about it, like you're probably, I'm not sure if you're the only independent artist to ever get like a Lil Wayne feature, let alone obviously for free, because I'm assuming he's not charging you like freaking $500,000 for a feature.
Nah,
you know what I'm saying? Yeah, YM, Young Money fam. But yeah, I think I look at it more like that, where people can say whatever they want to say, but in retrospect, now that we do know that you are, your independent brand and label.
Yeah,
yourself.
I don't want to say independent like Young Money hasn't been.
They've helped,
I've felt the full support of Young Money since the beginning of time. You know what I mean? But yeah, I got my own company.
Yeah. No, I think that's it's very honorable. And when it comes to like the idea of this collaboration with Lil Wayne, what would you say is the biggest one song that you have in your entire discography catalog? Is it a song with Lil Wayne? Is it one by yourself? And what is this actual song?
Destroyed.
And what was this off of?
You saying like one song that what?
Yeah, let's say for more perspective, like if you go to the concert, what's the one that like people would expect for you to perform, or that you see the most reaction out of?
At the moment right now, it's the one from my last project, Talk to Me Crazy. That song.
Crazy. Oh yeah.
That song took off in a major way. Yeah, there's places that I go to this day, and that song pops up. And I went to the Bahamas this summer, and there was a DJ in some strip club we went to. Allegedly went to.
Allegedly.
But we the DJ there, he was running. He knew who I was, and way in the Bahamas, and it was because Talk to Me Crazy and all that. And yeah, that song took off for me, and it put me in a dope position where I was able to do shows and stuff like that. But before that, it'd be songs that I would never expect. Like, of course, We All Right has always been like a big song because that did over 20 million views on YouTube and stuff like that. But
yeah,
the biggest joints is things that I dropped from Don't Expect Nothing, the Talk to Me Crazy joint, other songs on there. Right now, what I just released I did some song called Summer Flings that ended up getting a lot of love. I just released a song called Like Bill that before I actually released it was already getting so much plays in the club in Miami that we were forced to release it. So that's another one that, you know what I mean, gets a lot of love.
Yeah.
Other than that, it would be like a lot of features and stuff. But at the moment, yeah, those are the ones. And I just released some joint with Fireboy called The Door that got a lot of love. So these are songs that I'll bring out when I perform. But
Yeah.
mostly songs from Don't Expect Nothing, you know what I mean? Other than that, before that, it was other songs, you know what I mean? I would always perform and stuff like that.
Yeah. And what would you say, in your opinion, is your most important, like, actual moment musically with Wayne? Like, was it something off of his project? Is it the most recent one? Or is it something that maybe, might be your least listened to by the audience feature with him, but like it was like a moment you had with him when you made that one song with him? What is the most important song with Wayne?
For me personally, it was Destroyed. A song called Destroyed. And that was on No Ceilings 2, I think.
Yeah.
And we were going back and forth. I say it's most important to me because it's just the moment of it and how it was made and, what we made.
Yeah.
Just the ending of that song. We spaced out like asteroids. I'm from Prov City, and I'm from New Orleans, the part that destroyed. Just that last
that back and
line
forth,
right there for me to say, hey, I'm from Providence, and he's like, yo, I'm from New Orleans, the part that's destroyed. Just that going back and forth. We were going back and forth the whole song, and then to end it like that was like a moment for me because I was just thinking in hindsight, like, man, I just really did a song going back and forth with the greatest rapper of all time, and I was able to rep my city where I'm from, and stand next to him, on that track, and and it just felt like the whole city was getting respected on that track. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'm from Providence and I'm from New Orleans. You know what I mean? It's like, damn, that's dope.
100%.
Like, we really just made a dope moment. That song to me was probably, I still hold that song near and dear. But other than that, I had this song that was like by myself on the second Young Money album called Induction Speech. That was, that song was a moment for me.
Yeah, 100%.
Any fans of my music, they love that song, and they, that's one of the songs also that, comes up when I'm doing anything. But Induction Speech is another important song for me because I think that captured that moment that I was going through at that time so beautifully.
Yeah.
I think that's a big one too, for sure.
And speaking of Wayne, for a lot of people, is like a mythological being when it comes to his skill level. I think he's arguably the most skilled rapper when it comes to just the concept of rapping, like rhyming words. Like his wordplay is crazy. Like people still to this day quote his old stuff on Twitter and it goes like viral. What has been that experience? Bring us into that actual, studio, because I'm assuming definitely been around him recording when he's rapping, and people always talk about like he doesn't write nothing down. It's off the top of his head. Like it's like a machine in his brain and he just goes. Bring us into witnessing that. Like break that down for a lot of people who don't and will never ever get that experience to see Lil Wayne, like be Lil Wayne in the booth. What has that experience been? What like your actual like an eyewitness account in a sense?
Yeah, nah, it's crazy to see. I still remember first time seeing him work. Like I ain't understand how he worked because he'll be walking around, he'll just be chilling. He'll get close to the he'll let the beat run and he'll stand up, and he'll just be like standing over the board, the mixing board, and he'll just be quiet. You'll see him going like this for a while, and then he'll go in and he'll have a song written, and it's insane to see because it's like, now, after working with Wayne so long, I've developed a way of creating music very similar to him. I don't write music anymore. Not a lot of times I don't write music anymore.
Wow.
So I got that from him. It's hard to understand when you don't do it because it's like, yo, number one, how you remembering everything you think about? Like, you know what I mean? Line for line. And then on top of that, the things that he says hold so much weight. Like, bar for bar, he comes up with things that's like, crazy. Like, how do you think of that? And then you make every line make sense and relate to each other, like the way you string it all together. And you're doing that just from sitting there, thinking for a little bit. These are things that somebody needs to write down, erase some lines, come back, write something down, like. And he's doing this like just sitting there. But that comes from repetition. This man works every night. If it's not in the studio, he's in the skate park. So that's just not normal to see. And once you do something repetitively like that, at a point it's gonna become second nature. Yeah. So I think he's in a space where he's been in that space where it's like layups, and he's just in there just doing what he knows. But it's extraordinary. Like this extraordinary is his norm. Like it's crazy. It's crazy to see. So.
Oh my God.
Yeah, man, it's amazing.
I can only imagine. And did you have like a favorite rapper prior to like becoming a rapper yourself? Did you have like an up and coming favorite rapper? Was it Lil Wayne or was it someone else? Like, what was like your your go-to listen when you were coming up as a child prior to being part of Young Money?
Yeah, my favorite rappers has always been Jay-Z, Wayne, and Drake.
Wow,
those are my top three. It came in that order too. I was always listening to Jay-Z. I'm a Jay-Z fan. Me and all my peoples, like, we grew up just watching Hove, and not just the music, but just how they move, how they portrayed themselves, how they carried themselves, how they did business. That's just everything we studied. You know what I mean? Wayne, Wayne just, he had that beast in him, and that's something we all could relate to. You know what I mean? That's like, no matter what field you're in, Wayne is one of those artists that rap with passion, and you can feel his passion when he's talking, when he's performing, and the way he carried himself, like his own swag. Everybody go right, he go left. So Wayne has always been, that person for me. And then Drake just came in being himself, and he took over just by keeping it real and just speaking his truth. So and we all relate to it. You know what I mean? Drake is Drake. You know what I mean? Yeah. So.
Yeah,
that's
and I know
always been them three.
Yeah, and I know you've met definitely two of them. But did you ever like cross paths or have any interaction with a Jay-Z? Because I know Wayne, has had his interactions with him, and Wayne, I feel like feels the same way you do about him. Like he loves Jay-Z. From what I remember throughout his interviews, have you had any interactions with Jay-Z yourself or no?
Yeah, so bro, look, I've been in a lot of rooms. Like, this is gonna probably make y'all laugh, but I've been in a lot of rooms that I don't think I have no business being in. You know what I mean? And that's just my mentality a lot of times. I'm just a regular little Providence kid. You know what I mean? So I was in a barbecue. It's like all billionaires around. This is way in Silicon Valley. Like, this is something I ain't had no business being at. You know what I mean? I'm in this barbecue, man. Shout out to Ben Horowitz and Andreessen Horowitz. This is like the biggest VC firm. I think y'all probably seen Kanye West just posted Andreessen Horowitz on his IG. Yeah. So, he's a good friend. He's a good friend of ours, Ben Horowitz. He invited us to this barbecue, and Jay-Z's there. You know what I mean? Mind you, this is an intimate barbecue. This is not like a lot of people. This is just us. Man, I walk in, I see Jay-Z, Beyonce's in there, her family's there, a whole bunch of other people. But I see Jay-Z in there. It's people like Quincy Jones in there. Yeah. The list goes on. I could just tell you Steve Stout, a whole bunch of people.
Wow.
Future's in there. That's yeah. But I see Jay, man. I'm looking around like, you ever get that feeling like somebody's gonna come and tell you to leave at some point? I'm so used to it because mind you, I'm from Providence, bro. Like there's a lot of things that I have in the way I think and the way I move that are like bad habits, and I know that, and I picked it up from being where we're from. But I'm in this spot, and like Jay-Z's walking around, like he's right next to me and all this, and everybody's mingling and all that, and I'm just looking. I'm like, man, am I gonna talk to this? Am I gonna say what's up? Like, I didn't say one word like the whole time. I was just taking it in, but I ended up performing at this barbecue.
Oh wow!
But Jay-Z had walked out right when I performed. Like I performed in front of Steve Stubb, Beyonce's mom. She loved my performance. All of them. I performed at this barbecue, but I was so shy. I didn't
Yeah.
chop it up with Hov and that. Like, it's not even about being shy. I didn't feel like I had anything to say to him yet.
Yeah.
I'll meet him again, and
So that was your only one
It was
interact.
the
Yeah.
only moment that was like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
we was like kicking it.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. Yeah, I agree. Maybe it was, a lot of times the timing is just you got to work on God's time. If that's bound to happen, it's bound to happen at a different time, in a different scenario.
We gonna.
You know what I'm saying? You always, I feel like, especially being under, and around such a team like a Lil Wayne, Young Money, I feel like you're always one degree of separation from the biggest people in the world at all times. Because you're already with one of them at all times, but then you're always one degree of separation because of the people that he interacts with. So it must be like a crazy, like, concept of, like, even experience throughout these years. Because how long has it been now since that entire, like, being around Wayne? How long?
I've been running around Wayne with like 8-9 years now.
Yeah, damn near a
Maybe
decade.
10, about to be 10. Yeah.
Yeah. So that whole experience must be crazy. But break it down now, more specific when it comes to like those who are affiliates of the Young Money camp. What has been your interactions? And I know I've definitely seen you in photos with them. But for those who don't know, do you have a friendship or connection with, let's say, a Drake? And what has that been like? That even being around like him? Because obviously Wayne's Wayne, but Drake's arguably the biggest artist in the world, especially rapper wise.
Yeah, Drake is arguably one of the biggest artists in the world, but he's also one of the most humblest dudes I ever met.
Really?
So, yeah, and he's a real cool guy. My encounters with Drake, I've had really dope conversations with Drake. I'll ask him something stupid, and he'll take the time of day to just answer me. And he's always been cool.
Yeah.
First time I met him, he invited me. We was in L.A., and I pulled up to his crib probably like 3 nights in a row just to kick it. And yeah, ever since then, it's always been love. When I run into that camp, got that relationship with him. Nicki, I've come across Nicki a bunch of times, and we, she's always showed love. They really big on, they really love Wayne, and they love the Young Money family very much. You know what I mean? Because Wayne actually introduced me to them, so they treat it like if it's like you've been family. You know what I mean? And that goes to this last Young Money reunion that we just had.
Yeah, remember that.
I got on stage, and I ain't even want to get on stage when they were doing the Young Money reunion. You saw Drake and Nicki up there, but they were so welcoming, like, come in, nah, you're a part of this. I didn't feel like I was a part of it because I came way later. That's the Young Money that I grew up watching. But that's just the way they are. They show love. They ain't one of them people that's like weird or standoffish or feel weird or nah. Like Drizzy's super cool. Every time I see him, it's always love. And
yeah.
Same for Nicki and Tiger too. Tiger. That's the homie. Every time I see him, it's always love.
Yeah. So break us down or bring us there to that mindset of you're someone, obviously, you didn't literally sign, but you are Young Money, right? So being a Young Money rapper and affiliate, did you ever feel that pressure? Because obviously the two biggest, especially when it comes to female and male rappers, maybe in existence when it's all said and done, were Young Money and are Young Money, artists and affiliates. Did you ever feel that pressure coming up under them where it's like, damn, I have big shoes to fill? Or did you just, be like, nah, fuck it, I'm going to just do Euro, Euro's going to do Euro? Or did you at one time want to be like, fuck, make it, maybe I can be bigger than them, or maybe I can try to, go towards that trajectory of a Nicki or of a Drake?
Yeah, 100%. But I felt that more so from the external, because that pressure comes, like, when I first came around, you know what I mean? That was, like, one of the biggest things. And even now, we was just on the I Am Athlete. That's, like, their biggest thing. Like, oh, like, we know Drizzy. We know about Nicki and Tiger. Like, you know what I mean? Like, now it's you. Like, you're next. Are you next? Are you ready to be?
Yeah.
And, that question's always comes about. I don't feel that pressure as much as I used to, because it's all different lanes, you know what I mean? But that is something that I look at, you know what I mean? It's like I don't necessarily want to be like, you know what I mean? Oh yeah, I'm just here to be another face in the bunch. Like the competitive spirit in me, it's like I want to be the greatest at whatever I do, you know what I mean? And coming up under Wayne, you got some You got some, you know what I mean, some steps to take. So that pressure does, you know, you do feel that pressure, but I'm more so like, I don't think about that much. You know, that's not something that's in my mind. You know what I mean? I'm more so like competing with myself and like, you know, always trying to better myself. I'm big on that. You know what I mean? I never let myself get comfortable. I'm always pushing myself, and that came from, you know, since a kid, you know, playing baseball and all these other things. Like, you always try and one-up yourself. I don't really look to the side. I don't look left or right to compare myself with anybody. But seeing Drake and Nicki up there, you know, paving the way for us young money artists, and seeing how far they took it, it's only human to say, yo, I got to take it further than that. And that's something that Wayne taught us too. Like, you know, you got to be better than us. I got to say I want to be better than Drake. I want to be better than Nicki. I want to be bigger than all of them. You know what I mean? I have to say that, and I have to go try and do that every single day. Like, that's something that's just automatic. You know what I mean?
No, I think it's very interesting, that whole concept of you being, first of all, people got to realize, I always believe in, like, you're not around certain people for no reason. Like, if you are put in these rooms, you're with, you know, on the same team. For example, like, we can compare, again, back to sports. I feel for some reason it always goes back to sports for a lot of references in rap. But, like, if you are part of the Yankees and you're about to be, you know, you're under Jeter's era and you're there for a reason. You know what I'm saying? It's just a matter of, you know, what happens during your journey. You're around, you know, the biggest artists in the world, a Drake, a Nicki, for a reason. It's because of your talent. It's not just a coincidence, right? But would you say, did you ever see things potentially going different when it comes to your stance or your role on the team, I would say more, because you're Young Money, but you're like the only one that I can really think of that, one, you always see like the lower, not lower, but they're prominent, but still lower, or let's say less famous compared to obviously a Drake and Nicki. Young Money affiliate, you know, they tend to come out and have situations like they're upset about their contract. Like the Tyga had his moment, you know, I think it's Back to Love. Multiple artists, it always happened. And then with Nicki and Drake, they had situations where they were so successful and everything that you just kind of catapulted and became their own, you know, situation. But yours is so unique where you still rep Young Money, you are Young Money, but you never really signed on the dotted line, so you're not really contractually confined to any, you know, real deal agreements. You move on your own time when you want. You have that full creative artist freedom. Explain to us that, put us in that mindset of that difference, because you are Young Money, but you never really signed. So do you feel like that could have changed something at all, or did you ever want that to happen, or are you comfortable with that position that you're in currently right now?
Yeah, I think everything played out how it was supposed to play out. I ain't never been one of them dudes that like, I always see artists getting frustrated, you know, this and that. I've never been on that because, again, I'm not expecting anybody to help me do anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's just how we move from the beginning of time. So I've never been the type that just gets disgruntled or frustrated and starts, you know, to label this and that, or this and that. Like, we good. Anything anybody does for us is a plus. But I know logistically and technically what could happen. You know what I mean? If a Universal is behind an artist, you know, you get a marketing budget. Mm-hmm. You know, and a lot of people, you know, from the outside looking in as a fan, you see there's a lot of artists where they had a marketing budget and now they don't. And a lot of fans see the difference in that and see it as, oh, he fell off. When that artist could be an amazing artist, he could have even got better, but just the marketing budget changed.
Yeah.
So they think, oh, because he dropped that video with $1 million budget, but he dropped another video with no budget. Oh, this video was everywhere, but this video, I don't see it anywhere. They think, oh, he fell off. But it's just, no, the marketing budgets is different. You know what I mean? So technically and logistically, you could see the differences of having a major label behind you and not having a major label behind you. But for me, I don't see nothing wrong with how things play. I don't be looking back like, nah, this should have been different. This should have happened. because everything we did, fortunately enough for us, we was able to make a lot of the right decisions because situation we in now, it could have been way worse. You know what I mean? And I credit that to Wayne and Tez and Mac. They kind of were guiding me the whole way through when a lot of the changes were happening with Birdman and Cash Money situations and all that. They were able to guide me. Don't sign this. Don't get into that. Don't go and do this. This whole time they've been, helping me out with that. So we was able to make the right moves and put ourselves in a position where, we not tied down in no bad situation and we able to move around freely and make decisions still. And that's very rare, you know what I mean? Especially in this business, because if somebody in my shoes was desperate, I would have been signed a deal a long time ago. I've had countless deals.
Offered
from labels and distributors and things like that, with enough, to help us, cut the journey shorter.
Yeah.
But that's, those are just desperate moves, you know what I'm saying? Somebody, I just saw a quote that said, an empty stomach should never be an advisor. You know what I mean? So we was able to, to hold our own all the way up to this point and, make the right decisions. I don't look back and say that, oh, this should have happened differently or that should have happened differently. I think we, fortunately enough for us, we was able to play things right and, put ourselves in the best position, going forward.
Yeah, no, 100%, because I'm definitely aware of, like, Cortez Bryant, Mac Maine, a lot of the figures surrounding Lil Wayne that a lot of people might not know unless you're, like, a diehard fan. But when you realize, like, yo, if I'm affiliated with Young Money, obviously not necessarily signed, but you still have access to these resources for free. You know what I'm saying? Let alone, like we stated earlier, a freaking Lil Wayne feature that God knows whatever rate he charges to a record label if they want to get a random artist. It probably, if not now, might have been in the millions type shit because it's Lil Wayne. People would probably pay $1 million for a Lil Wayne feature, especially at the height of his run. But you have all these resources, right there that you can just reach and grab whenever you desire, and you still maintain, your own lane. So put us in that mindset real quick, seeing that, witnessing the whole quote unquote breakup, because now they had their moment, but they're great now again because there's always family. Just like any family, you have your ups and downs. So Birdman and Wayne had that down moment, and you were witnessing it as a affiliate. You were Young Money, not necessarily signed, but you are Young Money. Seeing that from behind the scenes, how was that? What was that experience? Obviously, it might have been how you kind of broke it down where, Cortez and then we're kind of telling you, wait, don't sign this and that because of this is going on. But what was that actual experience that Euro went through during this tumultuous situation between Young Money and Cash Money?
I mean, there was a lot of changes going on. Not to dwell too much on that time period, but yeah, it was a lot of changes going on. We had to figure it out.
Yeah.
It went from hey, we got studio every night to there's no studio available. We went from hey, we're gonna put this project out to there's nothing coming out. You know what I mean? So everything kind of switched from hey, we got this infrastructure behind us and we gonna put this out, we gonna do this, we gonna do that.
Yeah.
To hey, look, this is what's going on, so there's no direction now. You know what I mean? So at that time, we just buckled up and we kept working the whole way through. And lucky again, we have the Young Money team is a great team that they kept moving around too. Wayne was still touring and working on music, and he would put me on every project that he was putting. Well, as far as mixtapes, he put me on all these mixtapes and things like that, just to keep the energy going and stuff like that. So at that time I was just going through that. But my world isn't I'm not one of those artists that my world isn't just that. So around that time, my mind was on rap, but it wasn't all the way on rap. You know what I mean? My whole life was going on, so I wasn't too focused on just that. You know what I mean? So, but as far as the music side, I was just running with Wayne, riding with my dog. He was going through it. he was getting into situations left and right at that time. It started getting crazy, you know. It got dangerous at certain points. So I was just, just sticking with bro, just making sure, we keep the camp alive, and we made it through that.
Yeah, outside looking in, I can definitely correlate when it comes to you and Lil Wayne. I think like one of the things he would probably say if I would have had him in that same chair and ask him, like, oh, why do you love Euro so much? I would definitely say that it's like the loyalty. It seems to have it seems like you have so much loyalty towards him because, like you said, you could have signed so many contracts and everything, but you have this loyalty towards this man. Such a prominent figure in your life, and in a lot of people who are just fans of him growing up. What would you say is the number one like piece of advice that he's ever given you?
I've gotten this question before, and I probably answered something different. But right now, what I could think of, I'm gonna say, the team around me, keeping the right people around me. He always used to see, usual suspects around me, and one time he pulled me to the side. We was in the studio, and he was like, "Look, you see that person right there? You see that person?" We was looking at a camera, and he was like, "You see that person right there? That person right there? That person right there? Keep them around. This, and that." And what he was, trying to establish is that, look, you're going to go through your ups and downs with your peoples, but you want to do that with your peoples instead of doing it with somebody that, you don't know. You know what I mean? Because one of the most important things in this business is your team. You know what I mean? Your structure, your infrastructure, who you have around you. That can make or break you. So that was one of the greatest advices he gave me. Like, you know what I mean? As far as building your team, he's like, look, make sure you keep people around you that, that's really there for you and just been there with you through the ups and downs.
Yeah.
Make sure you keep them around. And he's known for that. He got people around him that he's had for years and years and decades, and that you can credit that to a lot of his success. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's the people around you. So
No,
that was
100%.
great advice he gave me.
100%. And someone who's obviously the prominent figure in his life definitely was Birdman. Do you have any experience dealing with Birdman yourself? Like any interaction, something that comes to mind, like a story, like when you met Birdman and everything. When it came to Euro's connection to Birdman.
Yeah, man. I just seen Stunner at the Young Money reunion show, by the way, too. And we chopped it up. It's been a minute since we had seen each other, but Stunner, man, I love Birdman, man. Like that, he really had that uncle figure, We've had moments where he's, he'll pull me to the side and he'll give me some advice that I wouldn't even expect from Stunner.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I first met Stunner, I didn't even know how he talked. Like I was just, like just wide-eyed and just, But Stunner, like, he's a really, really smart dude. Like,
Yeah.
He's a smart person. So every time I see him, it's always love. Like that's and one of the things he always used to tell me is keep the energy of winning, like, and express that and show that. Like keep that energy. Like the music I make and how I carry myself, always keep that winning energy. Like, you know what I'm saying? You want your music to sound like winning. You know what I mean? Like that I made it feeling. Keep that I made it feeling.
Yeah.
He'd always tell me that. I never really understood that until I thought about it. Like, when a lot of times as artists, we might feel complacent or, we might get to a certain point in our careers where we're just cruising. We on autopilot. But, he would always tell me, like, keep that I made it feeling. It's because, that creates a lot of passion in your music and how you carry yourself. It's just a different type of energy, and a lot of fans could feel that. You know what I mean? You can feel that. It comes across in your music and everything you do. So a lot of the time, Stunner, he knows what he's talking about. So he would always just tell me that, like, keep that I made it feeling, like, in everything, and in music and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he would always tell me that.
And bringing it down to a couple more of the last questions, wrapping up soon, the Euro podcast interview right here with Club Ambition. When it comes to the Rhode Island connection, obviously you are from Providence, you're from Rhode Island, right? Rhode Island rapper, but people definitely know that you spend a lot of your time obviously out of state, particularly whether it's Miami or wherever Wayne's at. Explain to the people that sort of concept of, especially now that we know, obviously, you're not really necessarily contractually confined to be there, but your loyalty, again, I feel like that's the answer to a lot of this stuff when it comes to you being around Wayne. What makes you decide to, like, yo, right away, he calls, whatever, I'm there. I got to be around him. I got to be around in Miami instead of, laying out here more and being out here more, because at the same time, like you said, you have sort of like your own situation, your own operation that you're also controlling, that you can kind of control from here, but instead you decide to definitely be in Miami. What makes that, that decision happen for you in your mind? What's the factor?
We still have business, Young Money. We still, I'm a Young Money artist.
Yeah.
I'm a Young Money artist through and through. And we got plans. We got big plans. We got things that we got that we got to do. You know what I mean? We got a lot of work to do. That we we got plays in motions, a lot of plans that's catered to me. I just recorded a collab project with Corey Guns that's insane. Every time Wayne calls me, it's to put me on his project or anything like that. You know what I mean? Shoot a video. It's just a lot of things that we got in motion over at Young Money. So it's always important to be there because Young Money itself is not, they're not a major label. You know what I mean? They're Young Money, but they had Universal. When they work with them, they work with a major label. But Young Money itself, I'm still a Young Money artist, and I represent Young Money. And, as a Young Money artist, whenever Wayne calls or whoever calls, like, I'm there. I'm front line. So
yeah,
that's something that we always do because we still do business together. And we still, we broke a lot of bread together, so.
Yeah.
So, we always maintain that work relationship. And every time I get called to lock in the studio, Young Money call, I'm there because, it's music that's going to come out and, I got to make sure to represent.
Yeah. And when it comes to on a more local base, when you hear right now Providence, Rhode Island, specifically, I would say probably Providence, obviously the creative capital, but Rhode Island has this sort of surge right now where, and I'll include myself in it, but creators like myself, a lot of other people are really, popping almost as more than it's ever been. I feel like Providence, Rhode Island is popping more than it's ever been. What is your opinion, being someone that's from here, Euro, from Rhode Island, part of Young Money? What is your opinion on the current state of Providence, Rhode Island right now, the creative capital?
Yeah, I love it. I love the current state of music in Providence, Rhode Island. I never seen it like this. Like I said, like when I was coming up and when all of this happened with Wayne, I don't remember knowing of or seeing too many rappers in Providence at that time. Even before that, like when I was coming up, I told you I never used to put music out and things like that. It was almost like non-existent, the music scene in the city for me. You know what I mean? The only times I probably heard of, music or anything going on with music from the city was like people like John Hope or, from Rhode Island, Jinsu or A-Rap Music. These is guys that you hear their names pop up in those spaces back in the G. But coming up, I never saw the energy that there is now, where now you could turn left or right and you see artists that's actually doing their thing and that's super talented and that's putting out great content from this city. Like, it's amazing to see. Like, you know what I mean? Like, as an upcoming artist now versus an upcoming artist when I was coming up, it was way harder if you're coming from Providence. Because now you got people that you could align yourself with, and you can meet these great artists and work and collab, and you guys can help each other, build each other up. Back then, I can't remember, all this, that was going on. There wasn't all this energy, you know what I mean? There wasn't some artists you could run into. There wasn't, you couldn't run into a Euro walking down the street or anything, or any artist from the city, you know what I mean? You wouldn't be able to do that.
Mm-hmm. And bringing it back to Rhode Island specific rap, you mentioned a couple names in there, but who comes to mind, like if you were to narrow it down, like Euro's like top 5 like Rhode Island rappers? Do you have it? I know it's gonna be a controversial. This might take a couple, Take your time with it. If I got to post edit, and then
Nah, I don't. Top 5. Look, top 5 in the city. It'll be a lie if I give you a top 5 in the city. It'll be a lie because I'm not running around bumping every artist from the city. You know what I mean? I'm not.
Yeah.
I don't know the catalog. But I can tell you there's some amazing talent in the city and people that have had incredible waves from the city. You know what I mean? That been doing that thing. But you know, I'm not gonna sit here and give you a top 5 like I'm just gonna rate these artists as like, this one's better than the other. You know what I mean? Like I don't think I'm too familiar with enough of everybody's catalogs and stuff like that. But
do you have maybe one that comes to mind that maybe you have
man,
an
my
affiliation with?
my favorite artist is in the city right now. I'll give you 2, and I'm not gonna get into it too crazy. My favorite artist is probably not even rappers, but my favorite artist is in the city is Israel Wusu and Pour Some Henny right now.
Okay.
I listen to their music. Like, I love their music.
Yeah.
Like, they incredible artists coming from the city. Like, you could tell they take their time with their craft, and you know they really put that time in on everything they put out. So
Yeah.
I'm big. You know, I support them all the way. I support every artist from the city too. One thing about me is I always keep an ear to the city. You know what I mean? I may have my own thing going on in my life, but I'm always listening. You know, I got a lot of homies that make music too. Shout out to all my homies and all that from the city that make music. You know what I mean? Whoever's, you know, names I probably ain't, but love to everybody. But right now, 2 artists that I got my eyes on and I'm watching and I'm observing.
Yeah.
Heavy. Israel Wusu
And
Pour
Hennessy.
Some Henny.
Yeah, Hennessy. Yep. Nah, yeah. Listen, you're not naming any. You know, they're not bad names, and they're definitely give an example of you being, you know, keen to what's going on because they're young artists, and you do definitely have your ear. I would say because those are 2 good artists to pick. Now, overall, in the history of like Rhode Island, who did you have like someone that maybe you can put yourself maybe almost in like a Rhode Island rapper class with? There's like one person that comes to mind. From my perspective, I might have the time wrong and the year wrong, but I definitely would say like around like the John Hope time. And you mentioned John Hope when it comes to age, but do you have someone else that maybe was like making noise from Rhode Island when you were kind of starting to make noise as well? Do you have that like one sort of person? Because I feel like there's like a class of like generation of Rhode Island rappers, and you're a part of it.
Yeah, I think before me, because like I said, I was a kid. I was young when I heard of John Hope and Jinsu.
Yeah.
Jinsu.
Jinsu.
Yeah, John Hope and Jinsu.
Jinsu.
And I believe at that time, like around those early days, even Flawless was touring already and like doing little shows and things like that. Like he was doing his independent thing already.
Already, yeah,
that time.
that's true.
These artists I might have heard about. You know what I mean? But again, I never felt the presence of a music scene in this city. And if there was, I probably just wasn't tuned into it.
Yeah.
But when the music scene exploded in this city, it was amazing to see like that. You know, I don't know if I came around that time when it was exploding, but you know, I was already moving around with Wayne when I saw the city explode, like musically, and everything happened. So to see that while I had everything that I had going on, it was just like a beautiful thing because it was like, oh yeah, this is the city I'm from. Like this is where I'm from. You know what I mean? And you know, anybody could come check Providence. Like, look, I wholeheartedly believe, like when I go to these places and people like, yo, Rhode Island, there's nothing in Rhode Island, you know, this and that. I wholeheartedly believe that this city can out-rap, out-sport anything with any other city. We could bang with any other city, like, you can name. Like, we have the artists, we have the talent, the music, the arts, the fashion, the sports. This city's been like that. You know what I mean? Even before the music scene exploded the way it exploded, this city has been like that from the beginning of time. Like, and I'm a big advocate of that. You know what I mean? Like, look, this city's like that for real. Like, you gotta just put some respect on this city because when you hear, you feel the energy. Like when you in Providence and in Rhode Island, you could feel it, right?
Yeah.
And it's a special kind of energy. But when you leave, it's like non-existent, right? But like if we just keep pushing and keep translating the energy from this city and take it, you know, overseas, take it around the country, and really like people start realizing, I really think our city gonna be, you know, held up high. Like we really are like that. Like, you know what I mean? Like if you look around, you can't play with this city no more.
100%.
Yeah, they gotta put some respect on our name for sure.
No, I agree, and I think it's interesting when you look at it retrospectively. Is like people don't realize, like even the simple fact, because this is a fact. Who Lil Wayne knows Providence, Rhode Island? Why? Because of you, Euro. Like no matter what, because a lot of people might not. I don't know what they never heard of Providence, Rhode Island, but Lil Wayne does, and it's because of your, you know, your presence and your existence and being from, you know, Providence, Rhode Island. Because no matter what, people ask you like, yo, where you from? Yeah, I'm born in DR, but I'm from Providence, Rhode Island. You know,
Right.
and I think it's very a powerful thing. I think it's a very powerful thing. Now, moving on, last question. Currently, what do you have if you're rolling anything out? We saw you on I Am Athlete podcast. We know that, you know, you've had the Young Money reunion. A lot of W's, quote unquote, this year happened for you, Euro. What is next? Do you have anything happening, any rollouts, anything planned aside from the current song that you recently dropped? Do you have something that's coming? Do you have, you know, something big that you maybe want to announce now? What is coming up next for Euro?
Yeah, we we just finished shooting today the rest of a short film that I got coming out, loosely, you know, wrapped around my last project. Don't expect nothing that I dropped, and that's something that, you know, we want to put out with my brother Henry Moo. You know what I mean? Shout out to him. We, you know, put that together, and I just did a collab project with Corey Guns. It's an amazing project. We got super dope features on that.
Wow.
That should be coming out soon. If, you know, the first single, God willing, we shoot that soon. It's featuring Wayne.
How many songs in total?
I probably got like 13 songs on there.
13 songs, okay.
Yeah, we got some cool things on there. And my own music, we gonna put something out in this last third and fourth quarter. We gonna put something out because it's only right.
Yeah.
And shout out to Fireboy. You know what I mean? We got some that we gonna cook up, and you know we gonna keep putting out content and keep working. I've never caught a year or any time period that I can remember where I actually was freely releasing music the way I am now, and I'm about to continue to release. Mm-hmm. So this is fun. You know what I mean? I've never been able to just record a song, load it up, holler at a distributor, and drop it the way I've been doing it. So I'm about to just really just unload everything that I've been cooking up, everything that I've been, you know, that we've been working on. Yeah. We about to keep pressing the gas on that. So yeah.
We're excited
dope
for that.
Features on the way, dope visuals.
Yeah.
Everything gonna keep him.
And actually, it came to mind right now. I can't let him go without asking this question. So, Lil Wayne, the Carter 6, what do you know when it comes to this? Are you possibly going to be a part of it? We know that you have a very long run of being on Lil Wayne's mixtapes, but are you going to be maybe present for this, you know, anticipated album? What does Euro know, Young Money know about the next Lil Wayne album?
Man, Carter 6 is, everybody knows what's happening when it's a Carter album. You know, these Carter albums Wayne gets into that special mode. As far as me being on it, I don't know. I hope I make the cut. You know what I mean? Like, we work a lot. You know, we about to lock in, and, you know, hopefully I make the cut. But the music that I've heard so far from Wayne,
crazy.
It's crazy. It is crazy. Like, the space he's in is insane. And, you know, just so people don't think I'm just talking, if you heard Wayne's Seeing Green verse, Nicki and Drake, he's in that kind of bag. Like, wow. Yeah, like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
His energy is incredible. He's in an incredible space, and he takes these Carter albums seriously. He doesn't play. So just expect the unexpected. It's going to be a crazy album for sure.
No, I can't wait. Because what's your opinion on this real quick? Because I feel like Lil Wayne's in a moment right now where he's obviously had the Carter 5 dropping, long anticipated, finally dropped. But then after that, he had, you know, I think he had like obviously the mixtapes, but his presence has been felt more due to the features that he's been dropping, the crazy features on everyone's song going crazy. But now I feel like with this project that he's gonna drop is gonna potentially be not necessarily a comeback because he hasn't necessarily gone nowhere, but it's gonna put him back in a situation where his name can't be ever like really questioned. He's gonna be potentially even on the radio again. Do you feel like that? How I kind of feel like that momentum again picking up for Wayne, how it was kind of like years ago.
I think people would take a notice. He had a crazy feature run that year. I think it was last year.
Yeah, last year.
And I think he got in that bag and he got in that space. I think people are starting to take notice. He's always been at a certain level of just rapping, but I think he's developing new ways to deliver his shit, because he's never been the type to really listen to other people's musics and things like that, or be influenced by any other artists.
I know that, yeah.
But something Wayne's been doing that I've been noticing is actually like tapping in. Like he's been tuning into a lot of different artists, new artists, upcoming artists. So he's taking in all these new sounds and all these influences, and you can see it in all his new music. Like it's amazing to see. And if you're an artist, you understand what I'm talking about. Like his sound is growing, and it's crazy to say. This is arguably one of the greatest of all time, and he's been doing this for the longest. But his sound is actually growing. Like he's developing new things, like in his music, and also he's bringing out the guitar again. Like he's getting into some crazy
the How to
zones.
Love, the How to Love.
Yeah, like he's in there playing this, like in the studio, like he's making that guitar sing again. Like,
wow.
He's getting into he's on his shit. So yeah, it's gonna be special.
No, yeah, I'm a nerd when it comes to Lil Wayne and anything Lil Wayne. I do believe what you're saying. Obviously, you're there, so you wouldn't. You're telling the truth. But even from the outside looking in, he's definitely spoken about that recently. Where I think he like, ever since Young Dolph passed, now he's like revisiting like Young Dolph music and like being like introduced almost to like Young Dolph and like a lot of other artists, whereas like back in the day during his interviews they'll ask him about these new artists and he really know because he's in his own world. But now him taking from and learning more about like the actual other worlds that are out there and the younger artists, I think is potentially he could be getting better. Like it's crazy. Like Jay-Z, a lot of people are arguing like that last verse is like one of the best verses of all time. And like we might be in a moment where we're seeing like our GOATs of rap still getting better.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And you're literally around one of them, so you have an eyewitness account and can probably, vouch for that potential idea of like Lil Wayne even getting better still.
Yeah, 100%. Like this is a different type of Wayne. Like, it's the same Wayne, but he's just way more open-minded musically.
Yeah.
He's always been open-minded, but it's just the things he's trying. He's trying new things. So this is somebody that's tried it all musically. You know what I mean? So for him to be trying new things, it just speaks to where he's at right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's in that zone.
I'm excited, man. I'm excited for whatever he's having, released soon and whatever you're dropping next. You got our support over here at Club Ambition. And, man, we appreciate your time. Thank you for stopping by the studio. Thank you for sharing your journey and, sharing your part of music history for the people who are actually listening, because you are a part of that no matter what, because you are going to forever be attached to one of the best rappers of all time. So no matter however people feel about you, like that's something that's a fact, so I definitely appreciate you. And yeah, man, thank you.
Man, love is love. I'm always happy to see you, what I mean? Ever since we first linked up, in the car next to Adelaide. So it's dope to see you got your own spot, your own space, you know what I mean? I'm just happy to be here. It's always dope to come back and have something like this in the city. This is our home. This is you know what I mean? So it's good to have somewhere where we could go and check up and tap in and see what's going on in the culture in the city. So you creating that space, you know what I mean? So yeah. I'm here whenever you need me.
Nice love. I can't wait, man. I can't wait. And when you do meet Jay-Z, make sure he asks you where you from. You're like, Prop City.
Yeah, you know the vibes.
You already know. Much love, everybody out there.
Love.
Be safe.
They gon' love me for my ambition.